Hey everyone, welcome to episode 94 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with Nick and Jen from thegreatanonymity.com. Welcome.
Hey, well, thanks. Thanks for having us again in your apartment, because we already had an interview with you, so it's our second meeting.
Very cool. So, could you tell everyone where you're from and how we met?
Sure. How we met or how we met?
You know what? Let's do both.
Okay. Okay, sure. So we're from Montreal originally. These days, we just live off our suitcases and we run our online business from different places. One of them is Thailand right now. So we're in Chiang Mai, and we kind of met through your blog. We saw that you do incredible things with digital nomads, and we have the Great Anomaly podcast, and we had a great talk about dropshipping and affiliate marketing, everything that you do. And this is how we met. We just happened to be in Chiang Mai at the same time. How Jen and I met, and we met in a bar.
Drunk in a bar.
Drunk in a bar. That's not the sexy story. There's probably a romance version that's better. But yeah, that's about it. But we've been together for 6 years, married for 1, and we're entrepreneurs and partners at the same time, and co-CEOs and everything. We kind of share everything, and now we're in this together and travel on top of that.
That's cool. At first, I thought you said you two met through my podcast and blog.
No.
It would have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? The first
we owe
couple,
you so much.
I would say the first couple that meet somehow through one of my meetups or the coffee meetup or the blog or something. I don't know. I'll do something nice for your honeymoon. I don't know what yet, but I'll do something nice.
Special event, special sale.
Yeah, 100%. So I normally actually don't like doing like what do you call these reciprocal interviews? Like you come on my podcast and then I'll go on your podcast. Right. But it's mainly because you end up getting people that like you don't necessarily want to be on each other's. You're just like, well, it's a trade.
Yeah.
So I always say no, just in general, you know. And I think the reason why I really wanted the two of you on was because when we were talking, there's a lot of topics that you guys do, especially with your health and wellness mailing lists, and you guys are very successful with affiliate stuff. And I was curious about it, but I knew that interview was more about me, so I figured let me save it for my episode. That's why I invited both of you on.
Awesome. Well, we're ready to talk about this.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that both of you have been to Dave Asprey's house, which is cool.
This is one of... so should we add that to our official bio?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one line would... Yeah.
Full-time traveler, and we've also been to Dave Asprey's house, by the way.
Yeah. So can you tell everyone how you got invited to his house?
Sure. So we have a business called Nick and Jen Healthy Life. We have about 20,000 people that get our daily newsletters, nutrition, supplements, health, fitness, whatever, sleep, health optimization. So people are interested in those kind of things. And we promoted as affiliates Dave Asprey's. So he's the Bulletproof Executive. I'm sure your listeners know him anyway. He launched the Mold documentary, which is about Moldy. Yeah. Now I kind of screwed up the entire thing. But the Moldy documentary, of course. And we ended up in the top 10 affiliates. So Dave was very generous with his affiliates on that launch and decided to fly everyone to his Vancouver biohacking facility, which is his garage, basically. And we ended up trying the cryogenic chamber. Jen did some floating. We had amazing bulletproof approved meals, and it was a fun weekend.
That's cool. So I saw some photos of you guys there, and it's not just a garage. It looks like a laboratory.
It is. On the door it says you can enter, but it's something like
everything inside can kill you.
Can kill you. Like,
beware and sign the waiver or something like that.
There was a waiver when you enter that. And it is a lab. It's 2 stories garage or lab actually. And at the top it's really just like it's a kitchen basically with all his tools and own product obviously, like the fat water, which is a new thing, the bulletproof coffee, everything. And then there's also his mat. There's like this room, which is basically for massage, like with a massage table. But actually on it, there's like a mat. And can you explain how this works? I don't even understand.
Under the mat is like electromagnetic signals. Right. So that's EMF, but that are actually for recovery. So you have certain signals that can like screw up your brain, like your cell phone, for example, and you have other signals that can heal. And like the ancients so certain cultures have been using that forever. Certain like places on Earth have certain frequencies, and it's kind of like out there. But yeah, that's what I really love about Dave. It's like, okay, he's trying everything, at least he's giving it a shot, right?
I think the reason why you guys were serious as well is you don't just talk about health and wellness or promote it on your list. When we went out to dinner at first, you guys started pulling these things out of your bag.
Yeah, okay, I have my kit. I'm really okay. I'm the geek here. I mean, Jen,
yeah, he is.
I'm forcing Jen to be healthy and trying to give her the example. But
You're
I'm
not
really
forcing me, but it started kind of this way. Like, yeah, you should. I mean, it's good for you.
You should really take that, Jen. No, I mean, you should really. But yeah, throughout the years, I mean, she got more interested. But basically, I'm the geek here, and I pulled out my. I have sea salt that I bring everywhere. I put sea salt just for taste, and I know sea salt is good for you. It's not bad. That's a myth, but that's probably another story for a podcast on health. I put MCT oil, which is actually the brain octane, which is Dave Asprey's product. I add some healthy fats on my meals just to fill me up, and I know that this stuff is good for me. It's good energy, and like it's clean compared to what's inside certain meals that I eat in Thailand. I also have like digestive enzymes, HCl, which is stomach acid that I take since I've had adrenal fatigue, and like my late night vitamins. And what else? What could I have?
Well, we also don't eat gluten. We also don't eat dairy. You always have with you like your gluten-free soy sauce, just because at the airport it's the only thing that we could put on the sushis, because then I mean, it's the only thing that we can eat. So
I always have my kit with. I like being prepared.
So one of Dave's tips that works really well for sushi is taking MCT oil and mixing it with a little bit of sea salt.
Yeah,
yes,
it's good. It's really good.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I think I prefer it to normal soy sauce.
Yes. I agree. I mean, I've tried it actually last week. We were at
for the
Fuji,
first time.
Yeah,
that's right.
For the first time, since just before it was just like the soy sauce, but then I mean, Nick has this little bottle, and then eventually it went empty, and so I tried it. I was like, maybe adding some of your stuff. I just want to try. And it turned out super good. So I was like, okay.
It's actually addicting, just because of the kind of mouthfeel that it gives. Like, it's fatty. And
this or MSG, same thing.
Yeah.
Like the healthy version.
Yeah. It's like umami.
Yeah, all right. It works.
And what I like about it the most, and I think the reason why he recommends it, is when you're eating a lot of sushi. Like, so let's say you go to a all-you-can-eat sushi buffet, which we have here in Chiang Mai, and they're pretty good. All that white rice ends up making your blood sugar spike.
That's
and
right.
Crash. But if you're eating it with MCT oil, it's kind of like having that effect where it just smooths out.
Right.
Totally. You feel incredible. After we had like 2 or 5 rolls at Sumo Sushi.
Yeah, together, not
together.
each.
No. 5 rolls for 2 people, and like at the end you don't feel full, and you feel satisfied, and you feel great. Like, this is probably my preferred food to eat anywhere on the planet, because it's pretty stable. Like, you pretty much know what you're getting. Sometimes MSG, but it's like, it's a good, especially in the airports. It's our go-to meal.
I like it. So you two are obviously your own experiments, and you actually use the products that you recommend on your list on your blog.
Totally. So this is something that we from day one we kind of got into the business, launching Truth About Fat Burning Food. So this was a series of ebooks on the ClickBank network. We had great success. We teamed up with people already very plugged in the industry, and that knew everyone, and that also had a lot of marketing skills. So that made it so that the business kind of exploded at that point. But I think why the product was successful too is because of the value it provided. Like, it was really like a thorough research. I spent months writing about 5 hours in the mornings, waking up at 3:30 and writing until 10 a.m. before going to my day job, and doing that for like 12 weeks.
I think that just doing that proves how much like quality and just respecting the people we serve like is important for us and for Nick at first, just because it was his book in a sense that he was the author, but just create and giving so much value in a book, it needs to be a value of yourself. So it's just it's everywhere in what we do, and for what we promote now, it's still the same thing. I mean, it needs to be quality. It needs to be something we believe in. I mean, it's since the beginning.
Yeah, since the beginning. So, long story short, some people are still on our mailing list and have been for 3 years almost. Right. And what they mention is that you are the only guys in that kind of circles where people send affiliate promotions all the time. People send traffic for the same offer the same day because we kind of promote like affiliate contests and all this game. They're like, you guys are the only ones I listen to anymore because I know you're trying out the product. Why? Because at first we kind of provided true information. People could see that I spent months working on it, because if you look at all the ebooks, I actually did the exercise last year, just a bit nostalgic about the work I had previously done, I guess. It's over 120K words. That's the equivalent of a New York Times bestseller of like 250 pages that I wrote in 12 weeks. So what I realized is like, okay, this is a lot. It's not like perfect words or anything like that. It's not revised and like typos, but it's a bulk of information. I remember spending 20 hours within the course of 2 days researching on soy, just because at one point I was ending my research after 6 hours and I was kind of pissed off, like, okay, I'm exhausted, that's enough, like this is my conclusion, I'll write it in the book. And then I come across new information that contradicts everything, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna settle for something that's not answered. I have the duty to do that. And that kind of attitude made it so that now people are sticking with us, and we've just seen amazing results, and they continue to trust our recommendations, they continue to buy, and we continue to have a business. And this is without having much front end. So without having like, I don't know how many this year, like barely any front end coming in, and the list is pretty much stabilized and people are staying in. And we actually just experienced, I can mention that because you mentioned your income reports and everything. We just did over 25K this month, or actually for October. We just closed October with over 25K. It's 100%, that's USD, that's 100% affiliate revenue. And that's almost our best month this year. And even if it's been 11 months of shrinking down the list because people naturally unsubscribe.
So let me get that straight. That's about $25,000 in affiliate commission.
Right?
Yes, correct.
USD. And so we bank it in Canadian. Yeah. That's fine.
That's 33K.
That's awesome. That's 33,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's from a list, that's from a website that the website hasn't been updated since when?
Oh my God.
2014. So that's our blog. Our blog is pretty obsolete, but this is a list. I must mention something. Most of these people were buyers at first. So the relationship that we built with them, because they bought through the Fabricating Foods, they saw the research and everything, is very powerful. But some of them now, there's like probably 20% that are not buyers. That are just people that
they came from giveaways.
They came from giveaways or maybe the blog. We have about 100 people a month on the blog that subscribe, but it's still insufficient to avoid our list shrinking down a bit. So the relationship that we built is very powerful. But again, there's the last time that we actually sold the product through the Fabricating Foods, we did a last chance kind of sale
in February.
It was in March or April, and then it's been months and months and months without having anyone coming in the business, except in August when we did a giveaway. So even when we do a giveaway, that's the thing that interests me right now, because we kind of because we focus on on the Great Anomaly, like you mentioned, we kind of focused 90% of our attention there. I think it was a mistake because we kind of saw our revenue going down because the new business, the Great Anomaly, kind of passionates us more, and it's a mistake because one of the two businesses does the money and the other one spends it. We kind of were a bit we had to adjust things, but basically what happened is that we when we put our attention back in Nick and Jen Healthy Life, instantly we kind of went from 13K in September to like 25K. And there's a lot of things that I can share that we did differently, but in choosing the offers and everything like that, these are small tweaks, but the kind of attitude and the quality that we put on it in it is always the same.
But I think it's marketing 101. Like just putting a lot of quality in order to have long-term relationship with your customers. I mean, it's not like something new that a long-term customer has a bigger value than like a short-term customer. And I think that the quality that like we bring create this relationship, and we got this proof when we stopped selling the truth about fat burning foods, because the list stabilized ish. So it makes a lot of sense to just continue to do the exact same thing if you want to continue make money out of this list.
So I have two questions. One is, what made you stop selling the book? And then second is, why did you stop updating the website?
Sure. Why we stopped selling the book is that we had disagreements with our partners, and we decided basically on after misunderstanding contracts, a bunch of things that happened, and we decided to both kind of stop to duplicate the list, because we basically had a deal to have a shared list. So we kind of duplicated the list and we parted our own ways.
But other than that, I mean, that's why we took the decision at first, before even talking with them about this. It's really because we wanted to do something that we passionately love, like both of us, because Nick, like the nutrition and health is really Nick's thing, and I was there to support, but we really wanted to have something together. And so we needed to find something that we share. And so this is why we have decided, okay, let's switch. Let's go to another business. And so this is when we thought about creating The Great Anomaly, which was not about travel at first at all. But, I mean, we keep trying and refocusing and all that stuff. But this is why we decided to stop. And then why officially, it's just because the marketing was shared, in a sense that they helped on creating it. So the sales, we weren't able to use the sales page or any marketing material just because they helped creating it.
Yeah, they kind of co-own the rights to it.
Okay, so even till today, do they still co-own the blog or the website?
It's only the rights to use the marketing to sell the product. So the blog and
marketing
everything
equal sales page, and then upsell pages and some of the emails that we send.
Yeah, so that's for the ebook. Our blog, we kind of created it before launching the product. That was more launching the Nick Pineault brand at first, which was Nick Pineault, the nutrition nerd. That was our initial idea in 2012. It kind of worked okay. We were just starting a blog. We didn't really know what we were doing at the time. And eventually, we kind of used the blog to provide some articles for people in our newsletter. Like on Mondays, there was like, okay, here's an article. We won't have a pitch today, nothing to sell, just an article. It was kind of a Monday goodwill kind of thing that we still do to these days. And why we haven't updated it, I can't pronounce that. I have no idea. It kind of fell apart. We got sick of blogging at one point, and we should have just removed the dates and made the content evergreen. That was a big mistake, just because people see it and it looks bad for our branding, and it's something we'll work on fixing within the next month. That's something we realized, and it's at a certain point we kind of wanted to get out the business that made us the money. And this is a hard place to be as an entrepreneur, because you're kind of torn between, okay, I just want to let everything go, like that kind of entrepreneur passion that you have, just like when you quit the 9 to 5. We wanted to do that, but with the business that provides us everything when it comes to revenue. That doesn't make sense. It's impossible. So we kind of had to go through that and feel satisfied about, okay, now we're starting a new business for real, and it's gonna make money for real, because now we're in the process of launching our first video class, and this is a whole new niche. We talk to entrepreneurs, freelancers who want to travel with their partner, completely different than the like boomers, 55 plus, health and fitness, dark response, completely different. But now we're okay with having the two businesses. It was a hard thing. It kind of took an entire year of process to be okay with the fact that we have this business, and this is a business that we kind of respect. And yeah, it was always like in between for us, like, oh, I love writing it, but I would rather do something else. These days I'm more like, no, we made 25K, and it's not about the money, to be honest. For us, it was never about the money. And a lot of people that were our colleagues, it was all about the money. So that difference too, it kind of felt for us, we're like, you guys don't get it. We're in for the passion. And a lot of them were in because they want sales, like they're marketers. They like marketing itself. We didn't like marketing itself. I liked health and fitness.
I love what you just said. And it's like we never defined ourselves as marketers versus they did. Like, oh yeah, I'm an internet marketer. For me, it doesn't make sense. It's not me. I'm not a marketer. I'm a creator. I really am. Even if I create design, if I create content, I don't know, I need to create something. We're not in this for the money. This is, you said it right.
Yeah.
I think that's how we're very similar, is because I don't think I've ever referred to myself as an internet marketer.
Oh,
even though I'm sure I meet the qualifications of it.
Yeah, we do too. But
I'm sure you're even like, some people would say, "Oh, Johnny, like you're a veteran internet marketer." When we look at your business and all the different revenue streams you shared on our podcast and everything, and just your revenue, like, oh, you're a successful internet marketer because of that number, right? This is how people think.
But this is actually how little of one I am. Is I was hanging out with a friend from Austin who. He was using all these terms, like he was saying that he was going to the IMP, and I was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's for IMs, and I'm like, what? I was like, what's an imp?
I don't know actually. So
yeah,
this is a proof or
like
not.
Internet marketing professional or
it was an internet marketing party.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So maybe it's because I don't live in Austin, so we don't use those terms. But at the same time, I just never thought of us, or especially like what I do and even what you do. I don't really consider it marketing. I feel like it's exactly what you said. We're creating content.
Yeah. It's a part of what we do. Mm-hmm. It's a necessary part of what we do, because if you have a business, you need marketing to sell your thing. But you're more than that, So.
And the fact that we've all been doing it for so many years, and the relationships on our list are very healthy. Mm-hmm. I would say with like hardcore marketers, what they do is they do these big launches where they hype it up, and as soon as the first couple of weeks or maybe even a month, they stop selling the product because they're like, okay, well obviously the product doesn't work, so let's hype it up. Say there's only 1,000 copies available for 30 days, then it's gone.
Yeah.
And to a part of me, I wish I was a better marketer, because I would do things a little bit smarter. I'll get more people, in my course that I know actually works. But at the same time, I think of it as, okay, let me just create a course that actually does work. Let me have a good enough sales page and a good enough email capture, even if, because people want to be able to keep in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
There's something that I really hate about like marketers is, let's say when we were in this whole thing, like they cared a lot about the conversions, how many sales they did and all that stuff. But for me, one of the important numbers of all of this, like the launch, was the refund rate. So is it low? Because this proves that we created something that people actually use, or actually that they want, they think it's great and all that. We can help them. But for them, it was just like, refund rate, who cares? It has to be low, but it's not that important. It is super important. And I still think that it's such a number. If you want to help people, it's the kind of thing that you need to keep in mind.
A lot of things. Yeah, refund rate is a great point, and on top of that, it was retention rate on the list.
Right.
People barely talked about their numbers. It was more like, okay, I've got a set of new buyers in after lunch, and now I'm gonna blast them with offers nonstop for a month because I know they're hot. Like those kind of terms. What does that mean? Like, the person is hot. I understand, but like the person is hot to use your content in principle. If you're confusing that person, and like the person is buying 7 supplements and 12 fitness programs on top of the fitness program you just sold, well, it works in your bank account. You're like, hey, I'm successful and I'm helping people, but are you really helping people, or are you confusing them until they leave? And this is a discussion that I really couldn't have with most people in that were also business owners on ClickBank and that do affiliate marketing, because they were like, you know what, Nick, it's not important. This is, or it's just like the more we sell, the more we help because our product is good. It's not as simple as that. I think that when we talked about user experience and branding, community, communication, everyone kind of like dismissed that as if it doesn't exist. And I think that's being a bit narrow-minded in certain areas. Like, no, we don't care. It's all about direct response. It's not. It's a mix of direct response. It's a mix of everything. Everything matters.
If you don't think about the long term and the community and all the social aspect and just like how much value you provide, what happens if your server goes down for like a week or a month and then you don't have any front end anymore? The only thing that you have is your list. But then if your front end is the only thing you're relying on to have a business because you're bombarding people with content that they don't actually like, they will leave fast. So that's dangerous. But again, we proved that just having good content makes your list stabilize, and then you can continue making money.
I think people kind of undervalue good content.
I know.
One example is, the hottest selling fitness products on ClickBank for a long time, and I think one of the hottest selling fitness products now is called Six Pack Shortcuts. Mm-hmm. And I actually know the guys who founded it, but till this day I actually have no idea what they actually sell. But I wanted to, so my leg was in a cast last week, and I wanted to do some kind of barbell workout with dumbbells in my home gym, but I didn't know what to do, so I just Googled, barbell shoulder workouts, and because they take over YouTube, his video popped up, and I've never watched any of his videos before, even though I know him. But so I clicked it, and it was a 7-minute video where he gives the best explanation of what exercises to do for your shoulders just using barbells. And I did the whole exercise, and I thought to myself, he didn't even try to sell me anything. And this was the best content I could have found. I would have happily paid for this. And now I know just from that, I'm sure people will subscribe to the channel. Maybe there's some videos that they do sell stuff. Maybe they encourage you to sign up for the mailing list, and in their mailing list, maybe they'll sell you something. But at the same time, I got so much value just from that free video that I can tell already that it's a legit product.
Yeah. I mean, it's branding. It's basic branding. I mean, you create and you build trust, and that's what keeps your customer coming back, and again and again and again. And
just to give you an example of what they could have done wrong, or like the wrong way, they could have said, well, producing a video costs $10,000, a series of video in HD and like with actual models, like it's a huge production cost. It's not worth it. I'll do an ebook, and I'll
this weekend,
and I'll outsource that to Fiverr, and the content's going to be good enough. But I'll invest all my time coming up with good copy to sell it, and then they will probably sell because these people have a ton of knowledge, and they really do write and talk and convince people to buy their stuff. But what about
the refund rate?
What about the long term? It's really the difference, and it's because these people are not necessarily in shape themselves, and they don't want to hire someone in shape to represent their brand either. So when you do things yourself, we had that great discussion on our podcast about that. You do things, you do case studies when they work, or when you kind of have a conclusion, like, hey guys, this did not work, here's what happened. And for us, it's okay, we're here in Talon. I'm using like activation products, phytoplankton. It's amazing. I think it's part of what keeps me alive because we're working like 15 hours a day these days, and I had adrenal fatigue in the past, and I'm always a bit like shaky my health when I get into like coffee mode. But right now I feel fine, so I'm like, okay, well, guys, I tried that. It still works. Here are the supplements I'm taking. If you want to take them, fine. If you do not want to take them, if you don't have the money, focus on food instead. And like being transparent. And it's always hard because sometimes you're like, okay, what if I am too transparent and recommend people to never have supplements again? And then we don't make money because we kind of sell supplements too. So it's always a fine balance. But the way we do it is if someone reaches out with a very good product, I'm going to try it. Like, okay, well, it's interesting. And if I obviously see that this is not premium and that maybe it sells, but it's not good, well, then you're putting your reputation on the line. So you got to be very careful in what you recommend.
Even in the marketing of the said product, if the marketing is like shitty and then people cannot access the refund if they want any, or like they receive a shit ton of emails afterwards. I mean, we try to talk with the owners about that. Like, well, I love your product, but our people might be annoyed by this type of marketing. So are you willing to do a custom funnel for us or something like this? Or if they're not willing, well, maybe we won't promote. I mean, it's also in the format. It's not just in the product.
I think that's cool that you have a relationship with the companies that make the product.
Yeah.
And I think in marketing terms, they would call you a super affiliate.
Yeah.
And I actually had to Google what that meant because I didn't know the definition of it. And I guess it's just a person who makes the product creator enough money where they justify talking to you one-on-one.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm a super affiliate for some of the things I promote because I make that person so much money every month.
Yeah.
Where he'll do little things like, if before he raises the price, he'll tell me and say, hey, we're thinking about raising the price to this amount. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell your list that we're going to do it? Yeah. So I get kind of insider info almost.
Yeah, you become kind of an advisor. You're a partner in a certain sense because you're a good client. We do have that relationship with a lot of supplement companies and if we don't, we still do. I mean, we still email them like, hey, well, we're Nick and Jen. We have send you X amount of sales. We just want to say something about your marketing. Here's people got confused about that thing you mentioned on your sales page. And to us, it's not sustainable and we won't be able to promote in the future. Oftentimes they will respond in they will be very glad because very few marketers and partners of theirs take the time to do that. And this is a partnership in the end. These people, you can't kind of expect that all the companies are going to change something, but a lot of them will at least consider it seriously. So I think we have the responsibility as affiliate marketers or whatever you want to call it. When you do affiliate marketing, you have the responsibility to try to help companies that you work with be better themselves.
I like it. So could we rewind to the beginning? So
sure.
How did you actually start in this whole space with affiliate marketing?
It started 4-hour work week. I think this is a similar story. I read that we were in vacation in South Carolina. Virginia? Okay.
One of these states.
One of these states on the East Coast where, we went that summer. And I read that on the beach and really in a cliche manner, I got inspired to do my own thing. And I was just beginning to work full-time as a copywriter for TV in Sherbrooke, east of Montreal. And good job. Eventually, I got my permanency, I guess, or you become a permanent, you have the syndicate and everything looking out for you, good work conditions, vacations and all this. But throughout the process, I was like, okay, you know what? I know this is a good job, but I know this is not my job. This is not my duty. So I'll do something else eventually. So I was consuming a lot of online information about fitness at first, muscle building. So I came across Vince Del Monte, Craig Ballantyne, and those kind of guys that were doing it since, I think, 2006. And I was consuming their information, buying products from them, buying ebooks and videos, but not realizing that this was a business for them. These guys are just writing things on the internet. They're informing me, and then I buy their ebook, and it's cool. I didn't realize, and all of a sudden, when reading 4-Hour Workweek, I was like, maybe I could do the same. I really love nutrition, and then I got more and more into nutrition. I was like, hey, this is missing from the market. So I kind of I joined Craig Ballantyne's virtual mastermind in 2012. That helped a lot, connected with a lot of entrepreneurs. And it's through connections and hard work, creating a first ebook, having some success, a couple $100 here and there, and thinking, oh, okay, well, I got my first sale. This is feasible. And then when all of a sudden that was December 2012, I remember vividly the 2 weeks where I was like, Jen, I created this ebook. It's not enough. This is not enough content. I have one ebook of 70 pages and I need to make like 7 ebooks of like 50 pages each, which was to be $2 fat burning foods. But I was already exhausted. I didn't know what to do. I was like, it needs to be a major work because it needs to be such value that I'll eventually find someone who's a big player who sees that and goes, oh shit, this is the next big product. Just because of the amount of information and like the novelty of it all, truth about fat burning foods, that angle, it's nothing new. I didn't invent any of the information in it. I took everything that was said on the internet that was a bit before paleo became mainstream, just a bit before, and I took that from Chris Kresser, from Dr. Mercola, all these people online. I took that and made it simpler. That was my goal. And then when Jen arrived with the idea, you need to brand this in a special way. It needs to be formatted in a visual way, and because people will be so glad they can consume the information really quickly.
But other than that, I mean, health stuff can be really complicated. Just figuring out like what's the truth. Like, well, this is what you were trying to do, actually, giving people the exact truth about stuff. And because it can be really healthy, heavy. I was like, you need, other than like the words and you need something that people will actually look at and not feel confused and overwhelmed, and not just like a super huge book with like huge paragraphs and you can't understand. You don't actually consume it because you're like, what's the summary of it all? So we created something that was easy to read, that was like, it was also really attractive, it was really beautiful, and it was ready to be printed. So if we wanted to go that route, it was already done, but it also means how easy to consume it was.
And what happened after that is literally what we had planned, is that I printed out one of the booklets professionally, like the first one, 75 pages or 100 pages, whatever, and it cost me like $75, and I took that and I showed it to different people in person and eventually sent the PDF to the guy who became our partners. And yes, it is because of the idea, just the idea of the positioning and all this, but also when he saw that we were serious, like, oh, they already created the product. It's professionally done. These guys have invested a lot of money, a lot of time. And on top of that, the angle is very interesting. And this is something missing from the market. So it's not just because of the pretty graphics, obviously. It's not because just of the idea. It's a combination of a lot of things. But it comes down, a lot of people got on board before we sold the thing just because they saw it and they were like, okay, this is the next big thing. We kind of used our marketing more to market to other affiliates than to clients at first. There was really very like a couple of months of relationship building, and part of it was making the product seem professional. When you talked about your dropshipping store, for example, where you want to seem professional, and it's not about tricking people, it's about establishing yourself. It's the feeling, the branding of it, like we are a professional store offering professional services. For us, it's we're serious and this is a quality product. And actually, I still think, and I've seen the products that are top ClickBank right now and all this, there's a lot of good products, but no one has taken such attention to spend like the money and the time and the attention that we did. And I don't think it's going to happen because it's not necessarily quote unquote worth it to these people. They can't see the return on investment necessarily. But for us, it was like, okay, it needs to be that way. If we are to be successful, it will be the right way, our way.
Okay, so a couple questions.
Sure.
So you mentioned right in the beginning when you joined a mastermind.
Yes.
How was that, a paid mastermind or is it a course? What was it?
Okay, that's a paid mastermind. It was a virtual mastermind, I must mention. So 100% virtual, 97 a month, if I remember correctly, something like that. And basically, we had a forum. A lot of other people were trying to launch our product. I teamed up with several people to do small sends and do the affiliate marketing thing with a first ebook that I had created called Healthy or Not. It was okay. The marketing was okay, and it sold okay, and that was perfect at the time. So this is how it all started. And then the relationship building in person. 2012, I went to Denver for an event. It was a one-day in-person mastermind, kind of mix of masterminding and speakers. And this is when I kind of first met our future partners. So this was like, yeah, just trying to, I don't know, a shot in the dark at getting noticed by someone.
So right in the beginning, so you read the 4-Hour Work Week. You decided you wanted to do something online.
Yes.
You were passionate about nutrition and health. And what gave you the courage to start spending all this money, flying to these conventions, or even spending $97 a month, which back then was a big amount of money.
Yeah. I don't know. No, to be honest, I don't know. I was just, I guess it's my passion for nutrition. The more I read, the more I'm like, you know what, Jen, these like people need to hear about it. And it sounds like, yeah, it sounds like classic, but yeah, I was like, people need to hear about it. Everyone like doesn't have a damn clue about what's going on with our food supply and all this. And this is what kept me going. And also I saw that people were doing it. And I saw also that, well, we both have a bachelor's degree in communications. I started understanding, okay, this is marketing. Like these people have a business. They have I started understanding kind of principle of online marketing, even though we never learned that in school. And I got more interested in more. And eventually it was like, well, there's an idea there and it's feasible. I think it's feasible. And the more kind of taking baby steps, joining the mastermind, then you see that some people in the mastermind itself are getting sales. You become very excited about getting sales yourself. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And you kind of go with that approach. And eventually you develop like a kind of hustler mentality, like, okay, I'll achieve this no matter what, and you kind of motivate other people on the forum and everything. This is what kept me going.
I do have a question for you, actually. Like,
yeah?
What motivated you as a person to continue doing that and spending like a ton of money, actually, on the credit cards and all that stuff?
Yeah, you mean...
How much money did you spend?
I don't know.
Like, estimate.
The credit card is still loaded, by the way, from that period.
Yes. That's because I don't manage my finances properly, but this is we're getting better at it. But let's say it was a long learning process for us, just getting out of debt and everything. But I'd say, I mean, just the travels, wow. Before making like a living out of it, I'd say 10K, maybe more. That's probably way more than that.
The credit card that you still have is still loaded at 12K. Since then,
no, it's getting 10K this month.
Oh, good job.
Yes,
but
going down.
Yeah, I remember it was. But yeah, it goes back to my question of what motivated you, because I remember like once we received a letter from, I don't know which bank. I mean, I think it was like National Bank, which is anyway. But I'm the only one with one account, and it was his name. And I touched it, and you know when there's a credit card in it, you feel the plastic. So I opened it, and he ordered a new credit card. I was like, Nick, what the fuck? Like, why did you order the new one? Like, yeah, I thought that maybe it could help. And I mean, it was a rough part because I was like, okay, what's going on with the finance? But then again, it goes to the thing. So what motivated you to just like, okay, I'll just spend and spend and spend, and you needed to see something in the end?
It's a good question. I think at one point you're so invested like a gambler that you have to make it happen. I wouldn't recommend this approach at all. No, to be honest, it could have failed. It could have never, and I would be just in debt, a bit sour from the entire experience. And I guess that a lot of people that go the internet marketing route end up that way because they kind of invest too much. They don't accept that it might take 3 years, and that if they take baby steps approach, it will happen in 3 years. And they want the quick success. And I kind of was one of them, and I've somehow believed that I was different. And I guess that the way you can differentiate yourself is just take massive action. And I was everywhere, and I joined.
Well, in a sense, you were a difference, but you didn't know it.
you never know it until you know, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people, the overnight success thing, where you had $2 for burning foods and it exploded. Like, where are these guys coming from? We were top 10 ClickBank for 2 years, and who are you guys? Like two random, like one dude, one girl from Montreal. What the hell? Who are these people? And we're like, well, we've been working at it for a while, and of course, it's finding the partner that did it for us, and that kind of exploded. But it's not something that you can plan. You can kind of take massive action in one direction. I don't recommend getting in debt so much, just because I'm just bad at it, and I would do it another way. I would probably just I don't know. I would probably flee to Thailand, actually, with the knowledge that I have now, and kind of do a very lean startup in that way, and do more stuff online instead of in person, because in person, yes, it's good, but it's so expensive going to masterminds. Like it costs you $2K easily to travel, and then for mastermind itself, which was it $2K a month? No, it was shit. I don't even remember. I think I might have spent $20K actually. Now that I think of it, I spent everything that I could afford, plus all the credit cards that I could afford, and it worked. But yeah,
dangerous.
Wow, that's actually like this could be a documentary.
Oh,
maybe.
You're serious? Oh well, if you have an idea, I mean, would it be about And the second documentary would be, why the hell haven't you reimbursed it after 2 years of making good money? But that's the next question.
I mean, that was actually a question I had in my mind. If you made $25,000 last month, why didn't you just pay off all your credit cards?
So
it's not ours. It's not our money. It's the business's money. Because I mean, we're two entity completely separately, and then we have to pay for a 7-people team. So I mean, it requires a lot of money, but we were extremely bad with our finances and paid for stuff that frankly we couldn't afford at the time, like maybe a condo.
You bought a condo.
We did.
There was a condo, there was the wedding, a couple of travels, and
we could afford the wedding until we had 20K more,
20K over budget.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happen. So when you have, let me just tell it as a case study. What happens when you have
so irresponsible.
That's you know what? I'm sure more people than you think are listening to that and like, I'm worst. A lot of people are in debt. A lot of entrepreneurs are in debt. A lot of people have like, I've seen entrepreneurs online make very good money and still have like 75K of like student loan from like 15 years ago somehow. And you're like, why? And this is because we kind of don't manage our overhead properly, and we didn't even know how much it cost us to live. All these numbers that now we became good because we had to. In order to travel, we had to know how much, because we were sick of like just being fearful when you look at your bank account, what's going to happen. And for us, it was getting a lot of money all of a sudden and hating finances. But like when the two co-CEOs hate finance and are kind of passionate and impulsive in the way they manage, it's dangerous. You don't have the accountant like, hey guys, you can't afford that. And okay.
But we have money in the bank account.
Yeah. So we ended up, for example, spending on stuff that we really couldn't afford, or not saving enough for taxes. So you get into that spin where you're like, oh shit, but now we need to reimburse the taxes this next year, but we have taxes from the next year, because now we're getting into this other thing where they want the 2016 in 2015, plus the 2014 that we owe, plus the 2015 that we need to pay on a monthly basis. And we're like, oh, and on top of that, our business is shrinking, like we said throughout the interview. And this is why at the moment we're in Thailand.
Yes.
This is just very poor management. And I let's blame it on the fact that we were young and restless. But no, seriously, this is only like stuff that people don't tell you how to manage your money. And
you know what? I think what it is it's not a sexy topic. You know, when you're in a mastermind, people don't want to spend 2 hours talking. You know, basically talking like your father. But
Totally.
luckily, there are books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which if we took the time to read, we would actually figure, you know what, maybe we should be buying assets instead of liabilities.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And for us, I think it was when you combine that attitude, like we can do whatever we want with our life and a lot of money and having no idea how much money you spend and how much money you have kind of big question mark at the end of the year. Is that debt? Is that a surplus? Is that something else? You don't know. And for us, it ended up kind of stacking over the years. And that's why I never took time to say, hey, you know what? I'll put $1,000 that I receive every month in my credit card. 10 months is done. Right. Never had the discipline. And I don't know. Instead, we made more, we spent more. It's the way you get into that habit.
I think the first year we made personally 100K something, a bit more.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah. So each
of us, yeah.
Yeah. So after a few months, you're like, okay, you're making 6 figures and then multiple 6 figures and you're really happy. You can't be poor. You're rich. You know, you're making money. It's impossible that you're poor. You can't afford that. But then at the end, you realize that you cannot. It's hard to face. It's just like, nah, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. No, you're rich. In your mind, you're rich. It won't happen. But it did.
I think I have the exact opposite problem of you, where I still think I'm poor.
Yeah, well.
And I think a friend had to like literally smack me back of my head. He's like, why are you even thinking? Because I was trying to budget something. I was thinking about something stupid that was going to cost me like $100 or something. And he smacked me and he's like, you made $22,000 last month?
Yeah.
Like, why are you like stressing over this? But I think I'm at a point right now where I also realize, even though I have this money coming in, you never know what's going to happen to your business, number one. Mm-hmm. But second, most things that we buy, so like, I don't even know if I could afford a condo or house right now.
Right.
Like, I guess I could buy it and then I would have nothing left.
It goes back to your personal profit. You know how much let's say your profit from last month, it's 19K or something like this. We didn't have this number. So we were probably as poor or as someone that was making maybe 20K a year or something, just because our overhead was huge. But we didn't know that. The only number was like, yeah, we're making 100K a year. We're rich. We can afford that. But in the end, we weren't able. Nobody knows their personal profit. I mean, you should, but most people don't. I mean, even their business profit, they don't. It's just like money's coming in, I'm paying for expenses, and at the end of the year, like the accountant makes it for me and something like this. But throughout the year, they don't know the number, so they cannot make a smart decision about what they can actually afford. And this is a business mindset. You don't necessarily apply it to your personal life, but it's something that you should do if you want to know if you can afford that house or not.
I guess that's what's good about living in Thailand. Mm-hmm. Is first, everything's so cheap that even if you just tried to spend as stupidly as you could, you'd still be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But second, I think also this lifestyle is kind of like a digital nomad lifestyle where, I'm not going to buy a car. I'm not going to, because I don't want to tie myself down.
Yep.
I'm not going to buy a condo here because I don't want to tie myself down. So what am I actually going to spend money on?
Food.
Yeah. I mean, and
rent.
I can honestly never ever look at a restaurant menu, and because the fact that I'm in Thailand, it's never going to be more than, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, totally. And this is something we realized when we took the decision. So here's what happened. We were in Paris last winter, and we kind of took the decision after spending 3 months in Paris, which were basically the best 3 months of our lives together, because for the first time we kind of it was right after splitting with our partners and everything, not feeling really good about ourselves, wasn't feeling like a good entrepreneur, feeling like a failure, really a lot of depression that I went through, and I had to kind of rebuild myself from the ground up. And at that point we felt really good. We're like, okay, you know what, we're gonna go home and we're going to sell our condo, even though we bought it just the July before, and it was April. So that was pretty recent. It was a new construction. Nothing logical about selling the next year, let me tell you. A lot of money lost right there. But we're like, okay, we're going to suck it up. We're going to accept.
Actually, we didn't lost money.
Well, what we paid for taxes, we won't make back. So that's $60K right there.
Right, but then...
So that's...
we paid for the mortgage throughout the year, and so eventually...
We lost $60K. That's the reality of it.
Okay.
But anyhow, we decided to do this full time. But part of the process was like, okay, now we have to figure out the money thing. Absolutely. So we spent time in Paris doing that, and the entire summer we kind of sold our stuff and realized, hey, my car is costing me so much. And at the same time, the business was doing less money than expected, and we were kind of getting more stressed and more stressed about debt and all this. It forced us, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people have to go through a lot of debt to learn that. But it's like going through illness to be healthy. It's the same thing as human nature. Unfortunately, for us, it was exactly that. And we were forced to look at our life expenses. Next thing we knew, we're like, you know what? Okay, let's move our plans a bit, spend more time in Tallinn, because this seems like a place that's very cheap and very good for us. And we're going to be creative. We're going to be working a lot on the Great Anomaly. And it ended up, right now, we're in Chiang Mai recording this. This is the best place to get work done on the planet that we found so far. Just because, well, the cost of living and the cafes and everything. And even though we're working, like these days, we're definitely not like in a vacation mode at all. We're working like 6 days a week. But it still feels like a vacation because everything is kind of new. We're like, oh, well, this isn't like a boring home or boring neighborhood or something we're accustomed to. It's a cool place.
Whenever you go out, it's still different.
Yeah.
So it's not your home. You're traveling anyway. You're going to the grocery store. It's different. It's still traveling. So yeah.
I think that's actually one of my favorite things about Chiang Mai is when I want to work, it has all the amenities of home. I can have a nice office, nice co-working space, nice coffee, nice apartment, but every day is an adventure.
Right. Definitely.
Totally. And I don't know what it is about that place. Seeing other people work hard. I went to the creative camp at the Maya. It's a place you enter and there's a big room full of people, but you barely hear a sound, and everyone's working. There's like 75 to 150 people in there working, and you're like, okay, well, this is what it's all about. Like, just by imitation, you're like, okay, let's get work done. And to be perfectly honest, like before getting in Chiang Mai, getting work done was really hard for me. I was like, okay, I need to write a newsletter. Then I have to kind of like hit myself on the head. Nick, come on. You're writing a newsletter. People are counting on you. This is cool. You're an entrepreneur. You're at the other side of the planet. This is what you've always dreamt about. So I have come to motivate myself, even though I'm in a very good position that's I should be happy. But here it's like, okay, let's get serious work done. It just flows more easily. So I don't know. There's like, it's in the air, or maybe they're coffee, now that I think of it.
Maybe.
Or it could be these coconuts that we're drinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're very good.
So what are your plans?
For the rest of Chiang Mai or the rest of life?
Yeah, everything.
We're going back, quote unquote home for the holidays because it's my birthday on December 25th, and I need to see my family and all that stuff. But afterwards, we don't know yet where we're going. But we'll still be on the road for at least 2 years, at least. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be more than that, but let's start with that. And yeah, I mean, for the business, I mean, we have the video class coming up in November, at the end of November. We're counting on it to start something, like to make it real with the Great Anomaly. Well, it's already feels real just because people are really like reacting like super good about it. Like, oh yes, that's really good. Like the 3 months thing, blah, blah, blah. So it's really encouraging. So we'll see where this goes. Definitely.
So any specific places that you want to travel or locate to?
Jeez.
Well, for this year, I had the plan in mind that I submitted to Jen, but it's still not official because she hasn't.
We haven't bought the tickets.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it depends on our budget, to be perfectly honest. These days, we're more like, okay, we'll see because it depends on what money we have. In the past, it was, let's do it, and then we'll see what happens with our financial crisis. It's not good. So I like that about ourselves now. And the plan would be to spend the first months of the year saving in a very cheap place. Who knows? Maybe Chiang Mai again. I don't know. Maybe for 6 months.
They have a multiple entry 6 month thing.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
So.
The new thing that you talked about on your blog. Very, very cool. And then Sweden for the summer because it's amazing in the summer. And there's TBEX, the event in Stockholm for digital nomads and travelers. So that would be cool to be there and visit like Sweden, Norway, and those kind of countries. We both really dream about those countries. I think they're just smart. It seems like they're the smartest people on the planet, with maybe the Japanese and like the healthy food, the culture. I don't know. It just seems like a smart society, democratic. Like they don't let. It's from the exterior. It's probably another thing once you're there. Like people will say no, it's nothing like that. But I want to experience really those kind of cultures that seem different. And not a lot of people travel to these places.
No. It's more expensive, but just by living here, we're saving money. So eventually you can afford it. So
yeah,
I like it. I'm really happy to have both of you on the podcast, and thank you for openly sharing the both ups and downs. I think most people would have just said, yep, we're making $25,000 a month. Yeah. Our business is great. Listen to us. We're awesome. But the fact that you also admit to sucking at managing your finances and being in debt, I think it also kind of shows people. I think there's a lot of lessons to learn in this episode. It's worth investing in yourself. I'm the same way. I spend probably $2,000 or $3,000 in courses and books to learn how to make money online, and obviously it paid off because I make more than that per month now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and then you spent 10 times that much, but at the same time it's worth it for you because now you make that much as well. But at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot of people who will just spend the money and then not do anything with it. Then it's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally an experience that I see beginners even to the nomadic lifestyle. Like they want to become digital nomads, and they're like in those groups that are all about leaving your 9 to 5 and firing your boss and that kind of thing. That's very exciting. But a lot of them just declare, hey guys, I just quit my job and now I'm gonna build an online business. I'm like, seriously? How fast do you expect this to work? Like an online, it depends on what model, but they expect to I'm gonna start my blog this week, and
I'll start with a blog and a podcast, and I'll also write a book, and
and I'm like, okay, no, this is not the way to do. The way to do it is to start replacing some of your income, flee to a place that's very cheap as soon as you can. If your dream is traveling, go ahead and travel the second you have the revenue. And well, if it's not Thailand, go to India, go to New Delhi, spend about $500 US per month. You'll live like a king, and it's probably way cheaper than here, probably a third of the cost in certain. I heard something about 1,000 Canadian a month. A friend went there, nice condo, chef, like private driver, kind of crazy things for like 1,000 Canadian a month. It's crazy. Do that and just have like one contract per month where you make $1,000 and that's it. For now. It's what you want to do, not like launch an online business and then when it's going to be launched in like 3-4 years of struggle, then travel. No, it's not the way to go.
There are a lot of people that we meet that are either clients or just people that follow us that are like, oh yeah, but I can't afford it yet, like all the travel living, just because my business is not stable, it's not as successful I would want. So yeah, I'll wait until I make that much. I'm like, you don't need more money, you need less overhead. So let's look at whatever you need. But it's a mindset. You're used to all that stuff that you have. But I mean, we're here and there's nothing missing, but it's just less expensive. So maybe just move somewhere else and it's going to be all fine. But I mean, it's your mindset. It's just like, okay, let's do stuff to make it happen. Really.
I like that. So some recommendations based on what you just said to everyone who's listening. If you guys want to kind of plan this lifestyle, you want to be a digital nomad, you want to travel. First, eliminate overhead. You can read the elimination chapter in 4 Hour Work Week. That's what I followed. I cut out, a lot of things that I realized I didn't need to be spending the money on. Eliminate all that. Second is focus on some kind of online business while you still have a job, and that way you can have some income coming in before you quit and move out here.
Yeah.
And whether that's getting into affiliate marketing, whether it's starting a dropshipping store, freelancing, writing a book, whatever it is, pick something and just start making a couple $100. You don't need to be rich off of it, but just make a couple $100 just so you know, okay, you know, it works. You have some money coming in, then move to a place that's cheap, like Thailand, like Chiang Mai, where I would recommend Chiang Mai over New Delhi just because there's a entrepreneur scene here. So there's other people who are doing the same thing.
Totally.
And it's still very cheap to live here. When you start making a lot of money, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that way you don't make mistakes and overspend.
Yeah, I was watching Natalie McNeil Periscope from today. She's launching the Conquer Club. And anyway, so she was doing this and she said something really nice. She said it's not because for people that are transitioning to this. So it's not what you do during your 9 to 5. It's what you do during your 5 to 9. So afterwards, like the other hours. So it's not about hustling and not having a life anymore, but you'll need to hustle just a bit and add a bit more work during this transition time. It's normal. You're in creation mode, and when you're in creation mode, it always adds up. It's normal. But you need to also have an end date because then eventually you'll get sick. I mean, physically, like just having your adrenal completely fucked up or whatever. So just give yourself an end date, but work through it like a lot.
I like it very much. If anyone wants to join a virtual mastermind that's not $20,000, you can join Earnest Affiliate, where I teach you what I do, and it's only a couple $100, so it's not going to put you too much sense. Can you tell us all quickly about Great Anatomy?
Yes. I mean, you want to know what's the business about or where?
Where can they find you? What can they expect from it?
Right. So actually, we're working on our big website currently, but we're also working on our first video class to help an online entrepreneur and freelancer pack their business, get their partner on board, and live anywhere for 3 months. Because, I mean, the first 3 months matter a lot. So they can go on thegreatanomaly.com, as none of these websites before, like the video class and the big one are ready, but thegreatanomaly.com does exist. And on Instagram, it's really our main social media. So the Instagram, search for The Great Anomaly. And basically, those are we also have a Facebook group, which is really cool with a lot of aspiring nomads that can offer a lot of support. It's Work Less, Travel More on Facebook. You should find that.
Okay. So I'll have links to all these in the show notes. This is episode 94 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. And if you guys didn't get the email, because if you're not on the list, I actually created my own Facebook group called the Travel Like a Boss Army. And what's cool about it is basically it's a discussion group for all the episodes. So I'll make sure to add Jen and Nick into the group as well. And it's a way where you can ask, the previous guest questions and interact and with each other as well. So it's going to be pretty cool and it's free. So Nick, Jen, thank you so much for being on the show. Any last words?
Oh boy. Work less, travel more, guys.
Yeah, I'd say don't wait to travel. If that's why you got into online business in the first place. This is what we're all about these days. We realize our past mistakes and just overspending, yes, but also underspending time working on our lifestyle and just working all the time, being so focused on the business that we forget about life. It's something we see a lot of people doing. And if you're one of them and you feel that you're just working too hard and you don't even know what you're working anymore, well, think about it. Think about it seriously. Like, can you move to a new place and run your business from there? It's transformational. It has been for us.
Very cool. And if you guys want to know what episode to listen to next and you're interested in what we said about Dave Asprey and the Bulletproof Diet, I had him on as a guest on episode 58. So go ahead and check that out. And I'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week. And remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.